to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Titas of Pageantry, and for this episode, as promised, I will be giving you my top 15 picks for the best swimsuit photos at Miss Universe Philippines 2025. So please make sure you stick around, please subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant picks. Hey guys, I hope that you're doing well. We have Ponyo who will be joining us for this episode. And yeah, like what I mentioned during our live sesh last Sunday, I have something prepared for you. I have planned on doing this swimsuit episode for you, but to be honest, I really did have a hard time picking because there were so many really good shots at this year's edition of Miss Universe Philippines for the swimsuit. So I think by now we've already established that a lot of these shoots were done on the same day, because if you check on the styling on some of the girls, it's pretty much an extension of their offering from the headshots up until the evening glam and now for the photo shoot for the swimsuit. So for some of them, the looks didn't quite have as much creativity in terms of styling. Some of them worked, some didn't, but let me tell you, a lot of the photos were so good. It was just so hard to choose and narrow down my list to just 15. I could have easily gone to choose top 20, but where's the challenge in that? So without further ado, I will be starting my list with my number 15 spot, and I will be giving this to Miss Universe Philippines Nueva Ecija, Chanel Olive Thomas. Now, I'm really happy to have her included in my list because I feel that out of all the returning queens, Chanel is the one who doesn't really have as much buzz. So if she is surfacing in any of these lists, then that's already a good job on her part and on her team's part, because that seems really organic. If people start recognizing the merits of her competition or her participation in this competition, it just means that she's doing a good job. Now, I really like the idea that even if she's on the skinny side, her body looks super toned, she looks super fit, and it was so nice to put her in a light colored swimsuit, in a pink swimsuit at this in a lighter color, because it just really makes her look a lot softer. So there. My 14th spot is going to go to Miss Cebu City. She is, of course, Dr. Gabby Carvalho. I'm so happy to have her on my list because I think that she looks absolutely amazing in softer shades of brown. Now, most of her styling has been very creative. It has been pretty theatrical. So I feel that it's taking away from her natural beauty. That's why I chose this photo of her to be part of the list, because this showcases a softer Gabby, a more feminine Gabby. And if you look at her, the series of photos that she presented, I don't know with you, there's just that feeling of nostalgia looking at her photos, because her whole look, her whole styling just seems to be a love child between Nicole Cordoves and her sister-in-law, Patch Magtano. My 13th spot goes to a newbie. I'm so happy to have her included in my list because I think that a lot of people have picked up on her, especially when they released these photos. And I'm talking about Miss Universe Philippines Ozamis City. Her name is Irish Sescon. Now, she was giving us all levels of Gazzini. She had a little bit of Bea Luigi in there. She had a little bit of Angelica Lopez in there. I know that her contacts were so light. She looked almost Caucasian or maybe Middle Eastern, but I suppose this was the vibe that they were really going for. And I suppose that for us to recognize her offering must mean that they all did a really good job in making her look fierce, in making her look like she was in command. So kudos to Miss Ozamis City. My 12th spot is someone that we're all expecting to be part of this list. I'm happy to have her included, but I will note some critiques because I do know, like what I mentioned earlier, that a lot of these photos were probably done at around the same time. So she hasn't had that transformation yet. And I'm talking about my number 12 spot, Sultan Kudarat. She is, of course, the beautiful Chelsea Fernandez. Now, this was taken during the time that she still sported this artificial tan that we did not like. So if you notice, the photo that she presented for swimsuit pretty much had a similarity with her skin color or her skin tone during her evening glam shoot, as well as her headshot. So I know that the team listened. They scrubbed her off of her fake tan and now she's back to normal. But these photos have already been processed. So I suppose this was the series of photos that they submitted at Miss Universe Philippines. So I'm really not a fan of the overall styling. I thought that the overstyling was dated. I thought that it looked very 80s for me. I thought that it was just super dark and it didn't really showcase her natural beauty. But I still included her in my list because if you look at her poses, if you look at the way she showcased her body, she was absolutely on point. There were beautiful lines that she created, the poses that she created really showcased the swimsuit that she was wearing and really showcased aspects of her body that is just Chelsea. Like, we know her as a curvy girl, we know her as a sexy girl, and she displayed why we all think she's a pro at this. Even with the way she would showcase her S lines, they were clean, they were lean, they were really good. So just for showcasing her best body in the best light, I give her kudos for this. Now, if it had been just my choice, if I had some involvement probably in suggesting what looks would do well for her features, I would easily go back to, the 1950s, 1940s pinup look for her because I think that this is a type of look that really works for her. But anyway, she still made it on my 12th spot because this body is undeniable. My 11th spot goes to Miss Universe Philippines Iloilo City. She is, of course, Karen Picho. Now, I know that her attack when it comes to her photo offerings have always been visual, have always been directional. And I felt that this was the same thing with her swimsuit photos. First of all, she was the only one who really went for a punchy color. So it was already a color that was just so easy to see. And then on top of it, she chose a material which was metallic. So I really think that they went for the idea and then really grabbed it by the balls, so they say. And I don't know, just had fun with all of the props and with all of the visuals, with all of the wardrobe that was just easily available to them. So I really like that she's bold, that she's out there, and I want to commend her body because she seemed conditioned for the competition. So yeah, go for it, Karen. My 10th spot is someone that, I don't know, got a little bit of momentum from last time. And I'm just, again, so happy to have her back on the list because I know that her fans will be so happy to have her on the list. And I'm talking about Miss Universe Philippines Oriental Mindoro. She is, of course, Rachel Hoco. And again, she scored another hit with this minimalist swimsuit that just gave us a teal color, which was, so summery, and then gave us cutouts that really highlighted those abs. Like, we didn't know that she had those abs. We didn't know that she was this toned. So this was a great revelation for Rachel, and it's just so nice to see her again in a more minimalist styling. And, it's pretty much the same hair and makeup from her evening glam look, which I think really worked. And then my ninth spot is someone who is gaining momentum because a lot of people have been recognizing her contribution in this competition. And I'm talking about Miss Universe Philippines Davao. She is, of course, Angeli Pasco. Now, if you look at her photo had more of an editorial feel. I think a lot of people have mentioned that it was veering towards ANTM, something that, gives us a lot of nostalgia and happy feels. And I'm really happy that she's able to really showcase her model-esque abilities. So she broke her body in like several places, and I like that the eyes get to travel from the crook of her arm to her bent knee. So these are things that are interesting for us visually because it seemed like she was styled as a modern ballerina or a modern dancer, and that she was captured mid movement. So for me, anytime you have an action shot, it's very appealing to me. So I hope it's appealing to you because a lot of people have been recognizing that she has become a quiet force in this competition. My eighth spot goes to one of the most consistent girls in the competition. I am, of course, talking about Miss Universe Philippines Baguio, Gwen Milis Soriano. Now, Gwen is, of course, living up to the hype. She has been very consistent. She is such a pro at selling herself and projecting towards the camera. I know that she's about 5'7" in height, but her body is a bit on the slight frame. So a lot of people would mistake her as someone who seemed a little shorter than 5'7". So just for this, kudos to her because it seems that she has learned how to master positioning her body so she would look larger than life or taller than she actually is. And I will say though that I did expect a little more from Miss Baguio and her team because, like what I mentioned earlier, they've been pretty consistent. I like the final photo that they chose, and of course the series of photos that they chose, but I also felt a little bit of a disconnect with what she was wearing to her full hair and makeup. I felt that the hair and makeup was more glam, and the swimsuit that they chose seemed more of a bodysuit. It seemed more casual. So I just feel a little bit of a disconnect with the styling, but I suppose to the untrained eye, these are already, good to go. So yeah, I just expected a little bit more when it came to the concept because, this team is very creative. I know that they have a lot of ideas. Maybe they got a little tired, but even so, with them getting a little tired or maybe with them losing a little bit of that creativity, they still produce, beautiful photos for Gwen. My seventh spot, I will be giving this to a heavy favorite in the competition. She is, of course, Miss Universe Philippines Quezon Province, Atisa Manalo. Now, she continues with this angelic vibe. That's why a lot of people have figured out that this was probably shot at around the same time. Because if you look at her photo here and then the photo from the evening glam and then the photo from the headshot, it pretty much had the same makeup base and the same like wavy hair. It just varied in degrees. Like if it was wavy for the first time, it got a little curlier towards the swimwear, and this was what we got to see. I like this. I just thought that the photos were safe. The styling could use a little bit more of a sophistication for me because I suppose if you put her in a white swimsuit, that's already good to go. But just adding the chunky green earrings just didn't do it for me. But I'm still going to have her on my list because Atisa is solid. Atisa looked good in this series of photos. Again, even with the very 80s, styling with the big hair and the chunky earrings and like the aerobics type of swimsuit, I still think that there's a little bit of direction in there. And come on, guys, Atisa is undeniable. So if you just compare her photo from this year to last year, I actually preferred how fierce she was last year in terms of swimsuit. I thought that her body was more well conditioned from last year. It was a lot more toned last year, but it's okay because I would still rather have her natural skin tone and her natural mestiza features from this year than of last year. So there. My sixth spot will be given to Miss Universe Philippines Taguig, Katrina Liegado. Now, Katrina Liegado's photos, these were solid photos. Honestly, they gave me a little bit of that bench lingerie or activewear ad feels. It's really clean, it's crisp, it looks professionally done. Her face is absolutely gorgeous. Her swimwear is pretty modest, but it features her figure well. This is someone who could sell us activewear, could sell us lingerie, could sell us undergarments. So I just felt that with the three of them, Taguig, Quezon Province, and Baguio, these were the three girls that we expected would have more of a concept to their photos. I still added them to my list because they're still three of the strongest girls in the competition. But I will say that for them to fill the sixth, the seventh, and the eighth spot just comes to show that these photos were safe. They weren't mind blowing, they were just safe. And so my fifth spot, I will be giving this one to another cutie. She has been very consistent in almost all of my lists. So there's probably something in there that needs to be explored even more. I am talking about Miss Universe Philippines Malay Aklan, Taylor De Luna. First of all, I absolutely love the swimsuit that she chose because it's such a beautiful color that signals summer and, pink with a little bit of that magenta thing going on. I think that this is really appealing and this is already flattering to any skin tone. So with her body positioning and her hair in flight, I absolutely love this because she has such a small frame and that small face that when you put her hair up, she looks like a ballerina. So the series of photos that we saw from her seemed like editorial photos with a ballet feel. So I absolutely love this. My fourth spot will be given to someone who's like really directional with her offerings. And I am talking about Miss Universe Philippines Muntinlupa. She is, of course, Teresita San Marquez. First of all, I absolutely love this concept because, being a former Reina Hispano-Americana winner, people would immediately expect Win-Win to go full Latina, sobrang Latina. I think people expected like more of the ruffles, more of the skimpy swimwear, and then she comes out with a sleek look, very athletic. She flexes her muscles, she shows us her body, she shows us the work that she's been putting in the gym, and it all works. Now, I love this concept for her because it means that she's flexible, but it also means that she is creative, and the team surrounding her, they're willing to create beautiful concepts for her. And again, I'm loving the sporty athletic vibe. This is something that we probably didn't expect from Win Win. Like we expected, yeah, like what I mentioned earlier, like more of the Latina feels, more of the Latina cuts, or more of that Latina vibe going on. But she veered away from it, and I really love this stripped down version of Win Win. I love the intensity, how she looks at the camera straight on, how she flexes her body, and if you ask me, her photos really reminded me of the photos from a photographer named Herb Ritz. I'm going to put visuals for you just so you get what I'm saying. Because Herb Ritz, when I think about his photos, I think about how he showcases the face or maybe the body in such an androgynous way, in a way that celebrates their body, celebrates how strong um, their physiques are. So yeah, I think that they were able to achieve this with Win-Win's photo. My third spot is someone that I'm really happy that we're getting more chances in recognizing her. This is her first time on my list, and I'm again, anytime there's someone absolutely new in the roster, it makes me really happy for that. My third spot is Miss Romblon. Her name is Mariah Nicole Valdez, and she was long, she was lean, she was absolutely well proportioned. Her styling was snatched. So it was nice that they put her in that simple white swimsuit because all you could see were her arms and all you could see were her legs, and they were so nicely proportioned. She's giving us a mix of Anita Rose, and there's a little bit of engineer Angel Rose Tambal in there if you remember her. She was the representative of Miss Universe Philippines Leyte last year, and I remember we kept on calling Angel Rose as mahal ng nanay because all of her materials were nicely executed. And I found touches on that with Miss Romblon's photo. I mean, her props really worked for me because it made her body longer, and the poses just really work because at the end of it we're looking for a beautiful body. Really, this isn't a swimsuit competition for the best swimsuit. We're basically looking for the best body and the best way that it was highlighted, and I thought that they were very successful in this. My second spot goes to Miss Universe Philippines Laguna, Eloisa Howard. When I was browsing through all of the photos, I got a little excited because I knew that her photos would slay. And I say this because this is a pro at modeling. So she knows how to work her features, she knows how to work her eyes. But more than anything else, I was just blown away by how long, how statuesque she ended up looking. Like I was even telling Ron the other night how that frame couldn't even capture her full height. That was how long she registered. And I suppose we're all very old school here. We still love and we still gravitate towards girls who are statuesque, who are lean, who are all legs. She was all legs, and it reminded us so much of Venus Ra from back in the day. I thought that her styling was beautiful. I like even the swimsuit choice. I wish that they could have picked the photo with her standing when she was at her longest, but it's okay because I think that this was such a solid series of photos for Miss Universe Philippines Laguna. And yeah, again, the frame couldn't even contain her, you guys. So there. And now for my first place, I will be giving this to someone who just makes sense to have an appearance at this list. I think that this list would lose its credibility if we did not give credit where credit is due. And my number one spot, I think a lot of you will be surprised. I don't know why. I'd like to say I'm fair. I'd like to say that I don't take things personally. That's why I'm adding her to my list because she earned this fair and square. I am talking about Miss Universe Philippines Siniloan. She is, of course, Eliana Marie Aduana. Now, I wanted to highlight these series of photos because I think this proves our very argument that less is more with Yana. First of all, her hair and makeup, they were on point. Her skin, undeniable. That's why we have called her Binibining Ring Light. And if you look at her body proportions, whether it's photographed or it's videoed, it's the same thing. This woman is blessed with just the best proportions. Now, it proves the point that less is more because she was only wearing a black swimsuit and a pair of non-tacky heels. And if it were just that, it's super successful. All three of her photos were just so impactful because it just featured Yana and it just featured the best of what she's got, which is really her body. And it was, it seemed to me, the first time that the team listened because they stripped her off of her accessories, of the background, of props, or of anything that was so unnecessary. If I only had one critique about this whole series of photos, it was that I felt her swimsuit was just a little too risque, especially if it's photographed in the crotch area. I just thought that it was just a little too thin. But other than that, it doesn't look bastusin on Yana. And I suppose it may have something to do with her luminous skin and the way that she projects herself. I know a lot of people are pushing for the very idea of MGI. Of course, I totally get it. She has the curves for MGI, but she can elevate herself because she still has that elegance factor. And she still knows how to pose in such a way that, again, isn't so out there, isn't so raunchy. So, there you have it, guys. Iana is my number one because if we are also just focusing on the body, on the proportions, I think it is undeniable to have her on the list because, yeah, the proof is already in the pudding. She is known as a body girl and she is known to pose and showcase her body the best way possible. So there you have it, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that this list is acceptable for you. But let me tell you, I wanted to really add more ladies. In fact, I would have added all of them because none of the photos really stuck out for me. That was bad. All of the photos, in fairness, they were all pretty decent. So, on this note, I will see you again. I'm sure that I will get to discuss more with the Pasarela Challenge. But for now, thank you very much, and I'll see you this Sunday. Bye, guys.